the number one skill that sets apart solopreneurs, entrepreneurs who are growing their businesses and they move forward and get results, and those who are just always in that area of grinding and working and doing all this stuff, believing that I need more information, more knowledge, more this, more that, I need money, AI, and they still can't get the momentum and can't grow their businesses, is the ability to make better decisions. And today we're going to solve this mystery of how to make better decisions. Because let me ask you this, if you look back into the past with the knowledge and the wisdom you have now, and if I ask you, would you been able to make better decisions? Would you be able to make better decisions if you could go back with the wisdom and knowledge you have now? Well, the answer is yes. Now you see that if that's true for then that's also true for now. So if you're in the first category who thinks that no, I need all the other things, but my decisions are good, I'm making the best of what I can, well, probably this is an invitation to come across and move into the second category, because the second category are the entrepreneurs who are at peace with this knowledge that yes, my decisions sometimes suck, but I want to improve this skill, because if you master this skill, not only you'll start to get results and start to think strategically and to get that income which you need for your business to keep growing and move forward, rather than just choking it because the lack of your ability to make better decisions. Well, we want to be in the second category, because if you're in the second category, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to nail it, to master this skill of making greater decisions, because that starts with you. And these 3 steps are so easy to remember. Everybody can do them. And if you can master this skill, and I know you can, your life will change. You'll start to get momentum. You'll start to think strategically, and you'll stop doubting yourself through all the other things. But that requires just a little bit of, what I'm going to say today might trigger a little bit some reactions, and your ego might respond a little bit, but that's okay. You can do it. I'm sure of that. So, the first step when comes the moment to make a decision, where to go, what to do, is this the right thing or not, let's call it so, the bias threshold. We all are biased here and there. We all do make biased decisions. But if your threshold is very high, then you don't even know when you're making a dumb decision. And then months pass by and you're like, oh my gosh, I was working and I was doing all my possible. How do we lower this threshold of our bias? Because we don't know it all. We don't always are confident. We often doubt ourselves. So the first thing you want to do in order to lower this bias, this threshold, is to divorce these 2 concepts, the doubt and the self-doubt. You see that sometimes there is a situation in front of you and you're thinking about how you can make a better decision, but then you realize that you lack some information, you lack some knowledge, some experience, and you start to doubt yourself. That's such a simple way to be fixed, but it can cost you so much. We want to divorce these 2, the doubt and the self-doubt. Sometimes you've got the information, you know where you're going, you know what you want, but you start to doubt yourself. And sometimes you doubt yourself, but you start to doubt all the information in front of you. You start to doubt your business, your direction, the purpose, your past, your experience, your everything. So, if you want to make greater decisions and you want to be less biased, so that you don't go 2 or 3 or 4 years forward and look backward and say, oh my gosh, you have to divorce these 2, the doubt and the self-doubt. Sometimes we doubt ourselves, and that's all right. That's okay. That's no problem. You're doing something you haven't done before. It's a normal reaction. But don't let it cross the bridge and allow you to start doubting everything else. Because here's the thing. Sometimes we want to feel right before we make the right decision. And that moment never comes. We want to make the right decision and to feel right about it. So if you're waiting for that moment when you'll be perfect and good and you'll know everything, and that, if you think that will allow you to make greater decisions, you have it in reverse. You want to first make the right decisions according to where you're going, what you want to achieve, what's the impact, what's the result you're looking for. And if some self-doubt kicks in, that's all right. But at least you know where's that coming from. And you don't want a blur line between these two. And sometimes it happens that the more we grow, the more you will know. But if you wait to know more so that you can grow more, well, that helps. But it's not always on one side or the other. Sometimes we know. The more we know, the more we grow. Sometimes the more we grow, the more we know. And that's how these two work together. You get what you know from the experience, and that's how you grow. And then you grow, you make new mistakes, you have new victories, and that helps you to increase your knowledge, what you know. So this is the step number one. You want to lower the bias threshold by splitting these two, the doubt and the self-doubt. Well, if you need some help, in the link in the description below, you can join a 5-day free mission challenge, and that's exactly what we're going to go through. We're going to go through your inner engines so that you can figure out the strategy, the solution, the implementation, and become that man on a mission rather than constantly doubting yourself or everything which is in front of you. All right, this is the step number one. Now, the step number two. Let's suppose that you've got this clarity between the self-doubt and the doubt. Okay, that's amazing. Now, let's move forward. Now, you're approaching the decision. Should I invest in this? Should I do that? Should I be more focused on this skill? Should I be focused more in the next 3 months on this aspect of my business? You have to make decisions. That's what sets apart those who are growing and those who are just circling around. They learn to make faster and better decisions. And time is just essential. So what happens there is we look backward into our experience and we say, oh, I've been there. I have got some wisdom, and I know I've got something in your pockets there. And you look also into the future and like, oh my gosh, like this decision is so hard. How can I do it? Can I do it? And here is the two categories of decisions. There are experience-based decisions. You've been through something, you already know, you've nailed, you've got some skills. And there are vision-based decisions. And if these two are not clear, again, if the line is too blurry, you want to make a decision about your future, but you want to feel so confident about it as you have already been there. So you have to know, wait a second. If the situation in front of me requires some of my personal development, some skills, some knowledge, some analytical thinking, some critical thinking, maybe you've got some wisdom already into the past, you've got some experience, use it. But if you don't have it, you haven't been through, ask for advice, have a mentor, look around, gather more knowledge. If it's about the vision-based decision, don't mix these two. Otherwise, you want to use what you've been through in order to build something new. And that's so hard because what you've been through is not something new, but where something new in front of you haven't been yet through. So here where kicks in the fear and the trust. You fear the future, and do you trust the wisdom from the past? You want to use that trust, to trust those principles so that you can use them and inject into this decision-making process. So ask yourself, hey, wait a second, the decision in front of me, is this a vision-based decision? Well, probably I'm going to make a mistake there. Probably I need to assess some information, some statistics, some wisdom, some knowledge, because that's about the future. All right? So don't try to find all the answers into the past if you are looking to the future. And just move forward. And what can help you to make this difference between the fear and the trust, between the experience-based decisions and the future-based decisions, is to know what you want, but also to know what you don't want. Because what's in the past, there are things which you have to know clearly what you don't want to have in the future. Beside the fact that you know what you want to have in the future. So when you're looking towards the future and you have this vision and you have to make a decision, that's exactly what you know you want. But know also what you don't want so that you don't repeat the past. All right, this is the second step. Come on, are you getting there? Or do you feel more empowered now? If you have a decision now in your head, you're thinking about it now, probably you are already changing it, because now you start to get this wisdom and you say, all right, now I can make a better decision. And that's amazing. That's what we're looking here for. Now, the third step, so that you can just completely nail this skill of making faster and better decisions, is understand that Even if you know when you're doubting yourself or doubting the information in front of you, and once you figure out for yourself, is this a vision-based decision or an experience-based decision, you have a voice which everybody we do have. It's whispering us, which is our ego. And our ego just wants to be fed with emotions, You want to make the decision and be so good about it all of the time. And the ego wants to be always sure that this is the right thing. And sometimes when you get some results and seemingly you're making the right decisions, then you start to feel so empowered and say, oh my God, I'm rocking, I'm crushing it, I'm getting there. Where are you going? I don't know. Do you know that feeling? Well, that's because your ego is ruling this decision-making process. And your ego just eats emotions, morning, lunch, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your ego just loves emotions. But the purpose, which is the second part of this beautiful mechanism, is to know what's the purpose of this business, what's the impact, what's the change you're bringing into the market, how is this going to change the lives of your customers. And for that you need a strategy. But if your ego is attached to you constantly, you're looking for emotions. And when a self-doubt kicks in, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna fail, this is the worst decision, the dumbest decisions I've ever made. And when you just nailed it and make a greater decision, you say, oh my God, I've got it all. Now I know exactly. I've got the wisdom. Oh, before I just wasn't, but now I am so and such, and I've got it and figured it out. You probably already know this feeling. So what do we want to do here is to divorce the emotions from the strategy. There is time to feel the emotions and to encourage you, or maybe just to face them when they're a little bit more negative, but at the end they still can be very helpful. And the strategy. Now, here's the thing. You can't have a strategic thinking as long as you're very emotional. As long as your emotions are ruling your decision-making process, and you think you are thinking strategically, you're biased. Because your emotions are ruling and your ego wants to eat emotions, and you produce emotions so that you can keep feeding your ego. But then the results aren't there and you keep repeating the same past again and again. And that happens because of our focus. Are we focused on achieving so that you can have proof and to have produce these emotions which are feeding your ego? Or do you want to expand and grow something which is meaningful and purposeful? Now here's the thing, that if you as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, you want to have a business which has a purpose. It's not just based on performance and what do I get and just to feel good about it all the time. Well, remember that you can't give what you don't have. And if you don't know the purpose of your business, it's because you don't have a purpose. You don't know the purpose of your life. How can you give something which you don't have? You can't give what you don't have. So, my friend, when it comes the moment to make a decision, an important decision, but even a little decision, make sure that your emotions there are not just there to eat and to squeeze you and to push you, like just imagine yourself being on the edge of a canyon. No, your ego is just pushing down, just go, because we need emotions, just give me something. And that pushes you away from the strategical thinking. Because the strategic thinking is putting yourself a little bit aside and saying, what's the impact and the change I want to see in the future? What's the change and the impact I do want to have in my business, or in my life? And let's use everything and leverage everything I've got, the wisdom, the knowledge, the systems in your business so that you can get there. So, if the step number one is to divorce your doubts from the self-doubts and understand that sometimes you doubt yourself, sometimes you doubt the information you've got. If you know where it comes from, you know where to look, you know what you want to improve. And remember that you don't have to wait to feel right in order to make the right decision. You make the right decision and you feel right about it. And don't be discouraged, because the more you know, the more you grow, but the more you grow, the more you know. And these two are just helping each other. This is the step number one. The step number two is to make the difference between the experience-based decisions and the future-based decisions. and understand that sometimes you have to use and trust what you've learned. Stop fearing it. And when you look into the future, just trust, even if you don't know it all, and stop fearing it. Know what you want and know also what you don't want, so that you can make a greater and better and faster decision according to the vision or based on the principles which you have built from the experience you've got. And the most important, which is the last one, the most important, is to understand when are you thinking strategically, or do you think strategically, or emotionally based thinking, which is feeding your ego. And the question you want to answer is, what is the purpose of my business? But you can only answer this question if you have answered the previous question, which is, what's the purpose of my mission? What is my mission as a leader, as an entrepreneur? What is the purpose of the mission you've joined and you've set yourself in order to get where you want to get and bring the results, the change and the impact through your business, into the world, and in your life? All right, good. With that being said, wish you all the best. Make better decisions. And if your emotions are still there, destroying this process and holding you back, I'm gonna leave here the video about it's a masterclass about emotional intelligence. You as an entrepreneur, this is one of the most expensive and also the most powerful skills you must develop if you want to lift your business from the ground and growing. All right, good. In the link in the description below, you can join the 5-day mission challenge. I'll be waiting for you. It's free. Stay blessed by the best. Take care. Bye-bye.